What's good with YouTube? You already know, big flocking from a convict's perspective, man. And check this out, man. We're gonna get straight to it. We're gonna be discussing. There's a new video that's circulating around. It's pretty much. I think I've seen it before, but it just got redropped, and it's regarding Michael Thompson. Okay, as we already know, Michael Thompson was an Aryan Brotherhood member. He had flipped in several cases, even some cases that were out of state that involved the AB and the HA. When the HA requested the AB to do a hit on this one family where they even wanted the kids to be taken out. Michael Thompson, man, let's go back to the beginning. He hits the system around 1973 for a case that he says he's innocent of. I don't know. Just hear me out on all this. Ends up in Tracy. Now, him being an altar boy or choir boy or, an assistant to the chaplain, that's all 100% confirmed. I talked to Fig. Fig told me that he knows Michael Thompson personally. He said he liked Michael Thompson, he said. He knew him before he ever became an Aryan Brotherhood member. But the claims, first of all, about 7 NF members being attacked to where he disarmed them and so forth, that's never been recognized. That's never been told. The correctional officer that he said that was there at the time, or sergeant, was not even there at that facility at that time. So there's a little bit of an embellished truth on his end. Now, could there have been an incident where maybe 1 or 2 guys tried to come at him and he got away? Yeah, there's a possibility. Who knows, though? That was considered an NF stronghold. And see, I think a lot of things occurred afterwards, around night after the baseball incident, regarding a bike club and a BISA and a Familiano and so forth, where a lot of the NF that were out there that they were able to identify got taken off the lines. Now, he didn't join the AB till later on, okay? And he speaks up on a lot of issues. Now, first of all, I'm gonna tell you like this. Anybody who knows anything about the North Daniels, the NF and whatnot will tell you this. They are not gonna waste 7 individuals on 1 individual. That's a breach of security and so forth. It doesn't matter how big the dude is, right? I don't think anybody is of that magnitude of being a beast that you can disarm 7 individuals who are all gonna be with that action, right? Inside a kitchen port. It just doesn't resonate of having any truth or any belief in it. If you told me 2, I could see it. You know what I'm saying? 3, maybe stretching it there. 4, I got a little bit of issues. Unless you're sending some fucking small fucking 5'1" dudes, man. You know what I mean? He was a big dude though. He does have some martial arts. He is a killer. Don't mistake it. But that issue right there, I don't believe it at all. I have no type of belief in that this incident happened at all. There's too many common denominators that show me that it never occurred. Now, as far as the incident that he claims that he had with Yogi, right? Yogi Pinnell, a famous AB member. I'm really kind of not feeling that anything ever occurred right there, okay? Because first and foremost, he didn't become an AB member till later on, okay? Yogi had been one of the longest living solitary confined inmate in the state of California upon his release from the SHU. He had been in administration segregation since 1969, okay? So I don't know if he believes that he got into it with Yogi Pinnell or whatnot. It could be someone else, but that right there doesn't resonate. Now, am I calling that story a liar? No, not necessarily, because there's sometimes where people were able to wiggle. But if he's been down and it's been documented that he's been down in solitary confinement since 1969, I have a hard time believing that he would have ever had action to run into him. I mean, he made it seem like it was a big yard and this and that. So, Michael Thompson's stories are a little bit embellished. I don't know what he expected. I don't know if he thought that maybe when he got on YouTube that nobody was going to call him out on it and so forth. And the thing is, from what I heard about this individual, there was no reason for him to even lie. He was a beast. Dude's like 6'4", like my height's like 280, was, rock solid, was about that action, And so, especially with his new case, man, the new charges that he has against him, which is defrauding the EBT system, not the EBT system, excuse me, the EDD, okay? What type of behavior is that? That's the behavior of a manipulator, a liar, someone who plays the system. So when you start to see that those type of charges are still being bestowed to him, right? It makes me wonder that, man, maybe this dude's just full of shit, period. Maybe he's one of those dudes. You ever been around that? They're with the action, they're with the business, they've been around a lot of shit, but they still can't help themselves but lie. When I think of Michael Thompson, that's what I think of, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know if he's out now or what. I'm open to having a discussion about this, man, because I'm gonna call it like it is. I do not believe that he tried to disarm 7 NF members. That's not gonna happen. They're never gonna waste that much manpower. Even though they had a stronghold there in Tracy, if they wanted him, they would have got him. They wouldn't have waited not to get caught. You know, even though the whole objective is not to get caught, but I don't see them wasting 7 people. You know what I'm saying? They killed numerous people in DVI at that time. That was a stronghold. There's stories about AB members being transferred there on buses and refusing to get off the bus back in the days. I've read that in our history. I'm not saying that's a fact, but I've heard that in our history. This was the NF's headquarters at that time. You know, I don't see him being able to do all that. And anybody that was suspected of being an AB associate or member, they were getting killed. Look at all the charges that Fig and Babo and Perico got. They were all, about half of those were conspiracy charges to commit murders against people that they thought that were AB members, believe it or not. You know, as well as NF cleansing and so forth. So, yeah, this Michael Thompson, man, I don't know what his demeanor is here. You know, it's a constant thing. Every time you hear something come out of his mouth, there's some truth to the things that he says, but then there's all these falsehoods. It makes you wonder if you can trust anything about him. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that this dude really was involved in the mix. He really was, you know, with the business. He didn't have no high-ranking leadership position or whatnot. From my understanding, he was mainly a soldier. You know, he did what he was supposed to do. He honored it and went about his business. You know, but to sit there and he made the other claim that fucking he jumped off the tier and he fucking jumped up and they tried to attack him again in a cell and all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's funny because I talked to about 4 people who were there at that time. You know, that were there at that prison during the time era that he was there, because he says he leaves to Folsom around 77 or 78, which makes sense because he ended up in the hole. Not one person has ever acknowledged any of these incidents. I don't even think that he was really on their radar yet. You know, I don't even think that he was even an AB member yet. I think that happened maybe after he left, because there really wasn't no AB in Tracy at that time. If you were being sent there, you were a regular white dude. Just like they wouldn't send any MA members or MA associates there, even though every once in a while they would slip through the cracks and get sent there. You get what I'm saying? So the stories don't add up, you know, and the story with Yogi even worse so, man. They've had that dude as a political prisoner locked up for a long time, man. And I've heard nobody else corroborate that story. And see, all these stories that you hear, why are they only coming from him? It's like the Big U situation. You know, like I said, what I said about that is 100% accurate. If Big U would have knocked out 31 Sureños in a riot, that fucking word would have been spread out all throughout the California penal system. You would have heard about it. No one's heard about no fucking 7 NF members fucking rushing fucking an AB who wasn't even an AB member yet, right? So he wouldn't have been even a priority target. What would have been the purpose to take him out? So I think the storytelling, man, I don't think he thought it was going to catch up to him, or maybe no one was going to look into it. I don't know. You know, you could just show by his actions with the EDD scam that he's a liar. You know what I'm saying? You know, I challenge him if he is out. I don't know if that interview is recent or if that's an old interview. If he's out, man, I challenge him to come on the channel. We could have a discussion about this, man, because I'm not buying anything that he's saying. You know, who I want to know. You know, he put who the sheriff was. I mean, not the sheriff, the captain or lieutenant or whatever. And Paul from LA Times did a cross check on it, and to a correctional officer that had worked there for years, he said there was no correctional officer by that name there at that time. You know, some people do things for views, or they tell the stories that they think that people want to hear. They think they're going to get the popularity and so forth. And I think that's what maybe happened here. Maybe he got too ahead of himself, not realizing that he was going to be questioned and put under the gun. You know, when did this happen? Who, where, what, when, why? Because I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? And the Yogi Pinell situation, you know, I don't believe that either. You know, Yogi was a beast too, as well, man. I don't see that dude really fucking bound down to anybody in any form or fashion. But I don't even think that he would have even been present. See, the thing about Yogi that would make sense is that they always wanted to get Yogi. Yogi used to talk a lot of shit, you know, over the tier, like cell soldiering and so forth, right? That's a fact. To guards, to other inmates and so forth. But the difference is that it wasn't cell soldiering, because if that door cracked open, Yogi was going to go out there and be about his action. He was going to be about that business. Whether he fucking lost, won, or whatnot, he was going to go out there and take one on the chin or give one. So, and during this era, they used to have lockdown units. It wasn't as much as what you had later on with the shoes and so forth, where everybody was completely segregated. So you'd have these units where there would be basically sections and so forth. Like, say, you'd be in San Quentin on one of the tiers, they would let you out with that tier to go do a little yard in the little mini yards. When you see those yards like in Badger and all these other facilities, those were some of the yards that they used to get put on back in those days. They were called mini yards. So you were confined to this area of the prison. So they'd have maybe the third tier, which would be MA and Southsiders, second tier, NF, and and so forth in these sections that were separated from all other groups. Now, I don't know how Soledad worked. I think that's where he said the incident happened. It was either Soledad or Folsom. Because you had O-Wing at that time, which I think was, I don't know if O-Wing was a whole or whatnot. Anyways, I don't see how they would have been able to interact, unless it was an administrative controlled move, unless they set that up, which we already know that there was a working relationship with the AB and a lot of these cops. And that's one thing that I wish Michael Thompson would talk more about, is quit trying to put these embellished stories or stories that just don't make any sense, and let's talk about the things that were really going on. Okay, how were those working relationships with MA members? Okay, how was your issues with the BGF? Was it really on site, kill on site, or was there a respect there? Because some of these groups had a different type of attitude towards each other. Like the NF had to basically kill on site any MA or B, and it was vice versa with them. Did the BGF be held in the same category as this? Those are the things that Michael Thompson could probably shed light upon, instead of trying to fucking envision that he was some fucking Superman behind the walls and that fucking, 50 dudes rushed him and he'd fucking just roundhouse every one of them. I'm not believing it, man. If we can call Big U upon his situation, which was 31 dudes in a melee, why would we not call out Michael Thompson, who claims 7 NF members with pieces? That story makes no fucking sense. I don't think that they would want to even waste more than 2 manpower. If you ever look at every NF hit and every NF killing, right? Majority of every one of them, they sent 2 people on the person. And that was to make sure that they got the job done. So even if Michael Thompson was a super active beast, I don't see them even sending more than 3 on him. And I think they would do it in a fashion where the individual didn't see it coming, not locked in the kitchen to where he has access to get out because the correction officer's there. It's just not adding up. I get it, man. So I get it. People, when they come up on YouTube, they're always going to spin a narrative to make themselves look a little bit more favorable. It doesn't mean that they're always fucking lying or that they're always embellishing their stories. It's just that they don't want to make themselves look in negative light. Now, he has a past, like we all do, that are out on YouTube, and sometimes people don't want the mentions of what we did to leave these groups put out there. So it's easy to make a controversial subject. Yeah, I disarmed 7 NF members. No, you fucking didn't. There's no way. No way in hell. And I know people that were there, and not one person has conveyed that story that this actually existed. They laughed about it. They said, oh, he's a good dude, but he must have bumped his head. And that's weird, because a lot of these dudes that were there with him, they looked at him, he was a kid, they said. He was just a youngster. He was like an altar boy, a choir boy for the chaplain there. Those are facts. The issue about the gun and the bullets and stuff, so forth, those are actually factual situations that actually happen. But all this other stuff, man, why do you have to even add this? It makes no sense. So, sometimes this stuff on YouTube, man, it seems like the best way to get the views and get the attention is to create these stories that cause friction, that cause drama and whatnot. And so I'm not even unsure that if he wasn't even encouraged to make up a story like this just to get the views and to get the attention, or if someone was encouraging him from the sidelines. They say this, man, you'll get hella views and whatnot, man. You'll blow up all over the internet. You'll get movie deals and so forth, man. Well, we already know him from Gangland, So I'm interested to see if he is actually out. He is a well-spoken, humble person when he talks. So even when he presents these stories, it almost makes you seem like it's a believable story. But that comes from years of being able to manipulate the system, years of being a convict. Just because someone drops out does not always mean that they leave all those characteristics that they've had. He was part of a fucking corrupt, violent, vicious organization. You know, with that, you learn certain tactics. He grew up during an era when it was, you had to be about your action or you were going to get killed. You can't deny the man that fact. But all this other stuff, man, I'm not feeling it. You know, I'm not feeling it at all, man. You know, and I'm open if he's out to have a fucking, you know, conversation about it. You know, so I could sit there and ask him certain questions, because these guys that are running the interviews, you know, they're not bad individuals. They ask good questions, but they have no comprehension of what the prison system is really like or what these groups are like. So therefore, when they hear these stories, they're just like, oh, wow, that happened. Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Because they believe it, you know, because they've never been there. But someone like me, if I hear that story, I'm going to call it like it is. Now, this never could have happened. It's just like the Big U situation. How many of you guys really believe Big U knocked out 31 Sureños in a fucking melee? You know, when there wasn't that many fucking Africanos that were fucking getting busy. There was only a handful of them that fucking went to the forefront to get really busy and handle their business. You know, there's no way you're knocking out 31. There's no way in hell. Same thing with Michael Thompson. You know, Michael Thompson, and Big U really didn't even create that story. I have no doubt that Big U has hands. Don't get me wrong, but all that, come on, man. There's no way in hell. Them Sureños are going to go for broke. Just like the Norteños are going to go for broke, the Bulldogs, even some of these SNY groups, man, they got dudes in these little cliques they have nowadays that are going to go for broke and are ready to take a fucking body. There's no way in hell, especially in a melee like that, to where the Sureños had so much an advantage, right, in numbers, and already with the remaining individuals that were there that fucking retreated, those that were willing to handle their business, they were going to have their hands full. But not no fucking 31 people. It ain't going to happen, man. You know, fucking, you know, I should start making up some fucking stories and shit, talking about fucking, yeah, I hit fucking Ironwood back in the fucking 90s and shit. There was 500 Sureños and fucking, I still was able to walk the yard alone. Come on, man. What would you guys be thinking if I said that? You guys be like, this motherfucker's lying and fucking full of shit. Anyways, man, this is a quick little spill for the day, man. So tomorrow, I'm supposed to do a very, very big interview, man. I'm gonna premiere it. I'm not gonna tip my hand. This is not gonna be anybody that's from the prison genre necessary, but they are a nationally known individual. And this is probably gonna be a very controversial individual I'm bringing on the channel. And I'm gonna give them a free platform to speak. It doesn't mean I agree with all their beliefs. It doesn't mean I disagree either, though. So we're going to have it on here for open dialogue tomorrow, unless he rain checks on me, because he's a very busy man. But I have some resources of people I know who connect me with somebody that's going to probably bring one of my most interesting and current, I guess you could say current scenarios that's out there that people have heard about. If you watch the news, you're going to know this individual. Okay. Anyways, it's your boy Flacco. Convict's Perspective, man. I'm gonna still be working, dropping a lot of different videos throughout the week at different times, just to get my library cleared from the new channel I have, which is going to be focused upon a movie that's going to be coming out, or a documentary that's coming out in September, maybe October if they switch the date. So I've been cleansing that channel because they're going to have this in the movie, actually. And other than that, so if you see me dropping some old content that maybe you guys have seen, it's because I'm putting out the videos I think that people are going to want to watch or look for at times on that channel. So sorry if I'm posting a lot. Hey, I'm just trying to get everything over there, man. Y'all have a good one. It's your boy Flacco, Convict's Perspective. Let's keep pushing.